Stage 1. The Search. In this stage, you'll learn who, what, where, and how to look for your next or new apartment. Let's begin. How and where to find potential communities. Identify potential communities by using resources like Zillow, Zumter, Facebook Market, Apartments.com, ForRent.com, and Rent.com. These are resources that property management companies pay to keep specials available for apartment shoppers. To some, the term property management company may be unfamiliar. It's a term we'll talk more about later. But just know these companies have great relationships with those mentioned third-party.coms or websites above. It's a win-win for both sides. Without one, the other wouldn't exist on the web and vice versa. So let's move forward. Once you've found a potential apartment community you think is appealing, use extreme caution. I highly recommend reviewing a few things before you physically tour the community. In some cases, a good review is a great, credible source, like when buying an app, looking for a nice coffee shop to have lunch, or even checking out what's new at the theater. But trust me, when making one of the most significant financial investments you'll make this year, a place to call home, you don't want to rely solely on reviews. Here's another tip. Go directly to the source. That's right. 85% of the time, previous residents who were mistreated, misled through false advertising, misunderstood, or didn't read their lease agreement leave reviews. They've sought out a venue to persuade the next person that may be interested in renting. These reviews may be dated and severely misleading. Unfortunately, most happy residents don't take the time to leave good reviews. Also, anyone can submit a good or bad review. Corporate offices have allowed personnel to post fake comments and reviews just to balance the negative review with a positive review. Corporate understands that no review is a bad review as well, so they'll call the missus or the hubby to leave a review, or even a close friend or buddy. Do not trust reviews. However, look for this secret to determine from whom you should rent. The who and what of finding your apartment. On the third-party website, look for the property management company's core values. They're frequently under the About Us tab. So you may be wondering, who and what is a property management company? That's a great question. Almost 100% of every apartment community is managed by a property management company. The apartment management company is responsible for managing the property. They're also responsible for hiring the leasing consultant, the property manager, assistant manager, the maintenance staff, and vendors. The property management company in most cases doesn't own the property, but they are actually hired by the investors and the owners of the property. So the way it works is, an investor says, "Hey, I want to invest and build a multifamily community, and I need someone to manage it once it's built and ready for business. Therefore, I'm going to hire Acme Property Management Company." Then the property management company brings a staff of leasing consultants, assistant property managers, and property managers, along with the maintenance team. They manage the day-to-day tasks and responsibilities of the actual property, built by the investors and/or the owners of the property. So anytime you walk into a clubhouse that has a leasing agent and the property manager, almost 100% of the time, they work for the property management company, via the owners and/or investors. Let's review what you've learned. 1. It's okay to use third-party websites to shop around and search. 2. Don't trust the reviews. Trust the company's core values. 3. The leasing staff handles day-to-day tasks for the owners or corporate. Stage 2. The tour. In this stage, you'll learn how to have a successful apartment tour. That includes what questions to ask, what to look for, what to take with you, and much more. Okay, so you've searched and conquered. After finding the perfect apartment based on the property management company's overview and core values, you're now ready to tour. With these tips, tricks, and secrets, You'll be fully armed and prepared to have the best time touring the apartment. The first thing you should do is call the apartment's leasing office directly and schedule a tour to view what they have to offer. Let the date and time be your preference, and not a date and time that doesn't best fit your personal schedule. When you call, be sure that you're speaking to a leasing agent from the leasing office. By doing so, you'll save confusion and frustration. Often, leasing offices use an after-hours service that also is set when calls are sent to an answering service during normal business hours. The personnel from the answering service isn't from the actual office, but working out of a call center somewhere in a different state. So simply ask, "Am I speaking with the local on-site leasing office?" If not, ask for a direct number to the local leasing office. Once you set your tour date and time, here's what's next. Wear business casual clothing. No tie or dress suit is needed, but a professional attire lets the leasing staff know you mean business. Show up a few minutes early for your tour. 10 to 15 minutes should be fine, not too early. It's good to give the leasing agent time to prep for the tour. There may be papers or marketing materials he or she needs to get in order before you guys leave the office and tour. Give a firm handshake and look the staff in the eyes. Once seated in front of the leasing agent, be very professional and sharp. Listen very closely. Take notes. Here's a list of things to ask the leasing agent before walking out to view a model or a vacant apartment. 1. Where's your company criteria listed? 1. Who's the property managed by, and what's their website? Even though you should have discovered this before touring. 1. Are you fair housing certified? 2. What specials do you currently have? 3. What's your pet policy? 4. Is there an application fee or deposit or both? If so, what are the amounts? 5. How are the utilities calculated and paid? Here's what not to ask. 1. Do you accept bad credit? 2. Do you accept felonies and poor criminal records? 3. Can I break my lease if I don't like the apartment? 4. Is this a safe place to live? If you ask this and they say yes,
they have just committed a crime or a fair housing violation. Are you going to contact my previous landlord? You do not want to ask any questions that may sound suspicious, or make the agent feel as though you are attempting to cover up the truth about your leasing history. If you are interested in completing an application after your tour, then just allow meeting the company criteria be natural. Don't attempt to persuade the agent in any way. All information about your rental history will surface regardless of how much you try to have an agent overlook it. If it's meant to be, it will be. Now let's discuss the tour. Tip: never be fooled by the showroom furniture located inside of a model apartment. Check under the hood. When I was a leasing agent, I toured model apartments with prospects daily. They would be so happy and excited to see a preview of what they thought their apartment would look like in the future. The moment the prospect walked into the cleaned, freshened-up model, the reaction of seeing the showroom furniture displayed throughout the apartment was overwhelmingly a pleasant surprise to them. Many people were leasing solely because the interior decorator worked wonders inside the model. But not you? No, they won't fool you. This information is training you to look under the hood of any apartment model. The things to ask when inside of the model are, how similar is the model to the floor plan that I want? This will eliminate confusion and allow you to actually see the floor plan you will be leasing. How often is the carpet replaced, cleaned, and disinfected? This will let you know how often a new carpet is placed into a home after the home has been vacated. The previous tenant may have had a pet to which you may, or your family may be allergic. Also, many deposits are kept solely because renters don't have their carpets professionally cleaned after moving out. Don't get fooled on this one. Look in areas where moisture may accumulate and check for mold. Mold in the apartment industry is forbidden. Even just using the word mold could cause issues. Many companies have found themselves in very costly lawsuits based on the damages mold can cause to the internal organs. Check in the bathtub area, under kitchen and bathroom sinks, hot water heater areas, refrigerator and dishwasher areas. Use a flashlight and take note of anything suspicious, and ask the agent directly, "Will you be leasing a unit to me that has had mold-related problems?" Write down their reply and save it in your records. Mold is very important, very important. The goal is to be proactive. Request specific details about what lived within your exact dwelling before your occupancy. Ask the leasing staff for a list of vendors who service the property. Take a dare and ask to speak to restoration and pest control vendors who service the property. Ask them to provide information pertaining to services for the exact apartment assigned to you. Most property managers and leasing agents won't even tell you that water bugs, mold, or mice infested your vacant apartment just a month ago. They may say no, but ask the leasing office for a history of work orders, documented service issues, for your specific apartment. In this industry, you have to protect yourself. Let's review what you've learned. Don't ask non-qualifying questions during or before your tour. Questions like, "Is bad credit okay? Do you accept poor criminal records?" Don't be fooled by a well-polished model apartment, but do look under the hood. Research and discover who and what was in your apartment. Ask key questions about mold and infestations. Stage 3. The application. In this stage, you will learn how to complete the rental application properly. That includes what not to put on the application, understanding application fees and why they exist, and state codes concerning your rights with rental applications. Tip: rental applications aren't all they're hyped up to be, so relax and complete your application truthfully and confidently. Over my several years of reviewing rental applications, I've seen many potential new residents become failed applicants before they even complete their application. They fail because they have little understanding of just how the rental application works. They have this misconception that the application is some superpower-filled document that looks deep into the past and will dictate their approval for a new apartment. Although this concept is misleading, many applicants believe it is true. Let's take a moment to examine the secrets of the application process. Secret. #1. The application's most important sections are the income and previous rental sections. The leasing agent uses the income section to determine your annual gross income and if you have been on your current job for at least 6 months to a year. Most companies want you to have been employed for this minimal term. They will use the income section to call your most recent employer to complete an employment verification form. When completing this section, be as accurate as possible and attach pay stubs as required by the leasing office. Most companies like to see that you gross 2.5 times the monthly rent for the unit you are potentially renting. For example, if your unit rent is $800 a month, be sure to list all of your income including any full-time and part-time resources, totaling a minimum of $2,000 per month. If your income falls short, a cosigner may be requested, and that's fine if they agree to the lease terms and conditions. They'll be just as responsible for complying with the lease as you will. Secret #2. Legally, your previous apartment community can only release the information that is requested on the previous rental document and sent from your potential leasing company. They do not have a legal right to release any other information. Therefore, if a previous landlord is caught trying to persuade a new landlord or leasing office that they shouldn't rent to you, they could be sued, and it is a fair housing violation. So be sure and comply by giving your current landlord or leasing office proper notice prior to moving. Typically, 60 days unless you are on a month-to-month lease. Then, the proper notice should be 30 days. Again, be sure to list all required previous rental information on a rental verification document. Don't panic or be nervous about what a previous landlord may say about your previous stay. Be confident and aware that no information may be provided outside of a rental verification form or document. I want that to be clear. Secret. #3. Never sign away your right to have your rental application fee refunded back to you if you fail the application. Yes, that's right. You have the legal right to request your application fee back if you fail an application based on not meeting the company's criteria. Now, this legal right may vary from state to state, but in order to determine if you qualify for this refund, please check your local state code in regard to renting from a landlord or rental property. Each state may vary, but the secret is knowing your rights. That's how you win when you are fighting or when you are protecting yourself from multifamily community management companies that do not have your best interest in mind. So do not sign that section of the rental application, where it asks you to sign your name understanding that if you fail this rental application, the fee will not be refunded. Do not sign there. Leave it blank, and let the staff know according to your state code, you may be entitled to a refund if you fail the application. In all honesty, the application fee is nothing but a fee to collect revenue on a day-to-day basis. That's why they have an option to waive an application fee when they feel the need to do so. Also, the application fee scares away the non-serious apartment shopper. That's right. The higher the application fee, the more serious the company is about weeding out those who will waste the time of the leasing consultant. Some people complete an entire rental application, knowing very well that they will not meet the company's criteria based on criminal history, income, or previous rental histories. In conclusion, I want you, the apartment shopper, to understand that you only win, and you are only able to protect yourself by proactively gaining the proper knowledge. There is a way to protect yourself from the practices that landlords and multifamily management companies thrive off of every single day. There is a way to fight back when you know you haven't been treated properly by a current landlord or a previous landlord. You just have to do it the right way, and this information will help you do just that.